The thing is, for the pushback now, for people saying things like authoritarian and overreach and that kind of stuff, I'm actually perfectly fine with the understanding that New Zealand went stronger and harder than many countries. But if you're going to have that conversation as a criticism, you have to incorporate one very important piece of information. That harder, longer, waiting for the vaccines to come here interaction saved 20,000 lives. So you can say that businesses should have been opened up sooner. That's a perfectly valid position to take. But you can't then say, and it wouldn't have cost more lives. So, perhaps we in a situation where has never happened before in our generation since probably 1917, so no one still actively working in government would have experienced anything. We had to fly by the seat of our pants a little bit, and they made decisions. Perhaps they went 10% too hard. Perhaps if they had gone 10% the other way, there would have been 15,000 lives saved and 5,000 more deaths, but businesses would have been better. They're all valid conversations to have, but you have to understand when you say, like he's saying now, authoritarian overreach should have opened up, what you're also saying is those lives that were saved, I'm fine with them not being saved. If you take that position, I have no argument with you because you're being an honest actor, right? If you take the position we should never have shut down, you need to accept the position you're taking, according to research, would have meant 20,000 more dead New Zealanders. If you have that position and you take that responsibility, I have no argument with you. I, on the other hand, am okay with a little bit more debt and a little bit harder for business because I rate people's lives more highly than people's businesses. Maybe that sounds horrible, and I get it. It's a payoff. And I know, I'm not saying I'm happy businesses failed. I'm not saying I'm happy the amount of money we spent. But if you said to me 5,000 lives or that dairy surviving, I'd probably pick the 5,000 lives. It's my position. You might pick the dairy. That's your position, but let's at least be honest about this. Open up sooner, not do what they done, more dead Kiwis. Accept that, I'll accept your position. Not that you're right, but I accept you're at least being honest, Chewy.
I look at that, those kids that he's reading stories to, how many of their parents and grandparents are still around because of our COVID response.
Yeah.
And then he goes and makes a comment like that. I hate this metric. Like, I remember really early on in the COVID thing, where they went, remember, one of the criticisms will be that we didn't need to do all of this because it wasn't that bad. And it wasn't that bad because we did all of these things. You can't jam a pandemic genie back in the bottle once you let it loose. Businesses fail all the time. And yes, it is traumatic for the people that spin them up, and it's traumatic for the people that work for them. And it's horrible. It is horrible, horrible, horrible. But if the people running the business are still there to try again, it's better than someone just not being there anymore. Like, people will forget this. And this is what they mean by you've got to remember your history. Because if you forget the details of what people went through and the benefits of it, then you're just like, well, yeah, you let that false narrative settle in. The government's actions in COVID kept me in a job. They kept me paying my mortgage. They kept me in a home. Now, my parents are still alive. These are all factual, real world things to me. And they are echoed right throughout this country. And I'm not saying that lockdown was easy for people. Everybody's experience of COVID was different, but it bought us time, and it gave businesses surety, and it gave workers surety, and that was the right decision. And every time an opposition person went up and said, "Oh, well, we shouldn't do this, or we should open up a bit more early," the math on that was like, and if we get it wrong, what is it? And maybe the hangover of having higher inflation and having some supply chain difficulties is worth the effort of keeping citizens alive. That is the baseline that I expect from a government, in a time of crisis. How many citizens can you keep alive?
Yeah.
Everything else is secondary.